Hey there, welcome to my channel where I take you on tours of tiny and unique homes and showcase stories of people living alternatively. We've featured hundreds of tiny homes on this channel, and the reason why people are going tiny is for affordability, to find a sense of community, and to downsize their possessions, therefore simplifying their life. But in today's episode, we're gonna meet a young couple living in Nashville, Tennessee, who decided to downsize to improve their health.
We lived in a house that unfortunately had black mold that we didn't know about. Tiny home was just a very affordable way that we could control the environment for me, because now I'm so sensitive.
If you're building a tiny house, you can specify every little thing that goes into it, and that might mean improving your health in a big way, like it did for Olivia. If you like these kind of stories about people living tiny or in unique homes, make sure that you subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you know every single time we publish a new video. But right now, let's meet Olivia and Caden and take a tour of their beautiful tiny home.
Will you join me? Will you roll? Make this house our tiny home.
I met him late at night. I got to say he was quite the sight.
Hi, I'm Caden.
I'm Olivia, and this is Tank. Welcome to our tiny home. We lived in a house back in 2015 that unfortunately had black mold that we didn't know about. My health started to decline. I triggered a gene that 20% of people have, and I was properly diagnosed with Chronic Inflammatory Response Syndrome. The tiny home was just a very affordable way that we could control the environment for me, because now I'm so sensitive.
Building a tiny home in itself was difficult, but making sure that it was chemical-free, toxic-free was another added challenge.
We actually worked with an indoor environmental professional who helped us pick out the building materials that we needed, and also helped us make sure we have the proper airflow and the proper humidity control. I have no idea where I would be at in my health journey without being able to have this space. We found a builder called Greenwood Tiny Homes.
We didn't have any experience whatsoever designing or building or anything.
No.
And ended up doing the whole design and layout pretty much 100% ours.
We did get a lot of inspiration from outside sources, and then we just combined it into one.
The living space is 360 square foot. If you add in the lofts, it's 578. It ended up being around $110,000 through everything. Tough swallow, but totally worth it in the end.
A little bit more expensive because of reducing the toxic load and everything. So we ended up finding our land that we're renting from a farmer on Hip Camp. We were super blessed with that, to have a full hookup already on the property and not having to worry about that at all. Going tiny has really allowed me to keep pursuing my music career and my dreams of living down in Nashville as a full-time musician.
I believe it would have been tough to find a affordable apartment or suitable living condition with everything that's been going on with her health. And also, I'm going to be going to school for nurse anesthetist, so we had to make something affordable.
We had to make something work.
Yeah. Welcome to the outside of our house. It's a 12 by 30, and it is just under the legal limit by 2 inches at 13.4 tall. We have the LP Smart siding. We chose white. A big thing with the LP Smart siding that we liked was the wood grain texture. It also holds up really nice in the weather. It's been about a year now and it's still looking pretty clean. We added the cedar awning. Love the cedar accents. Nice thing about cedar is that it's very weather resistant. It's very resistant to rotting, and you put a little stain on it, looks very nice. We did just a dark brown stain for it. As you can see, I'm standing on one of our big additions that makes this tiny house even bigger, is the deck. We built this after coming down and setting up spot, and it's a 16 foot by 12 foot deck Seeing deer and wildlife is kind of a big thing for us. So setting up this and building this kind of tabletop with the chairs, we can sit out here and enjoy the wildlife, drink our coffee. On the end of the house here, we have the pop-out extension that we decided to do. It's about 3 foot in length, and we also added a 5x5 window. Also, the added plus was when we were building this, we knew that the field was going to be here, the big pasture field, and we wanted to be able to look out at it as much as possible. This silver piece that you see here is actually an indoor air exchanger. It moves the air in the house and recirculates it. We actually have another one on the other side of the house so that they work with each other and are constantly putting in fresh air into the house. With the weight of the tiny house, we had to go with the triple axle. It was nice to be able to put the house down low and then you don't see the tires as much. Moving this in and getting it to the certain spot we wanted to get to was a little bit difficult, but just making sure that everything was level was one of the big keys with the house. But with the stabilizer bars on the sides of this house, we can actually crank these to shift the house if need be. With it being so long, wood bends. So this end could be down and that end could be up, or you could just re-level them. Coming to the front side of the house, we have the mini split set up. In the house we have 2 mini splits. We actually have one in the living room main area, and then we have one in the master bedroom.
Come on in, let me show you the inside. All right, we're gonna start with the main focal point of our house in the kitchen. We definitely knew we wanted a wider layout. We wanted to go big when we went tiny. So we went with a 12-foot wide instead of an 8-foot wide. We chose the interior white because we wanted to really just add a lot of space, and it just really opens things up. As far as our kitchen, our countertops are epoxy. So with epoxy, you can make it look pretty much however you want. So for us, we wanted to have more of the natural stone look. The only downside with this is it isn't heat proof. As you can see, we're using coasters. So it does leave a little bit of a ring if you put a warm plate on it. But other than that, it's much more cost effective and it's more lightweight, which is huge. This was really one of the most important pieces of the puzzle for us because we absolutely love cooking and we knew we needed a lot of counter space. We just cooked a whole turkey dinner, so it is possible with a lot of counter space. A lot of tiny houses we were looking at had the exposed shelves instead of the cabinets. We knew we wanted to have a lot of cookware, so we wanted to put as much storage in this puppy as possible. We did utilize the cabinet space, but a lot of people don't, just because it does take away some of your space and makes it feel small. For us, we had 12-foot wide, so we weren't super concerned. Though we did choose the cabinets, I also loved the look of the exposed shelves. So that was our happy medium where I could display some of our family members and just some decorations, but we also had ample storage as well. Another key point that we wanted to have in our kitchen was to have a deep sink so we could easily do our dishes, but also we wanted to have all the full-size appliances. So we have a full-size dishwasher, we have our stove, oven, microwave, and fridge and freezer. So we really didn't want to skimp on any of those things. Shout out all of our family and friends, we love you, even if you're not on our fridge. Send us a picture. Then, one thing we have really enjoyed about our kitchen space is how much we thought through our cabinets and the functionality of them. So this cabinet, well, this drawer in this cabinet is actually fake. It's a whole side situation. So we wanted to really make sure everything was easily accessible and functional, but also I'm sort of OCD with symmetry. So I wanted to make sure that it all, kind of looked the same, but still was functional. Another fake little opening situation that we did was this cabinet, because functionality wise, opening it like this, you're not going to be able to really get into the cabinet very well. So we still love this look, so it matched everything, but it opens like this. So we have a furry friend named Tank, and we looked at a lot of different options for his water and food, and a lot of them were drawers that you can kick out, which is super cool because it's out of the way, but We were paranoid that the water was gonna spill inside, and we wanted him to be able to have access to it the whole time. So we decided to put his food and water bowls actually underneath here and put in another drawer, so that way we could have more storage and still let him be able to access his food and water whenever he wanted. So one of the other really big things that was important to us in our build and our design was to make sure we maintained a good humidity level in our house, because the whole reason that we went tiny is because of my health issues. We were looking up tiny homes and there was a lot of horror stories about mold, and so we actually consulted an indoor environmental professional because we did not want that to happen. So there's a couple things in our house that we did, and one of those things is having the dehumidifiers, and we actually put a drain line in the bottom of the house, so that way if we were traveling it wouldn't be able to fill up and shut off. It would just drain out the bottom of the house as needed. This is our couch. This couch was really difficult to find because we only had 4 feet to work with. But we also wanted it to be able to convert into a bed, so that way when we had guests over, they could also stay here. We had trouble figuring out where we were gonna put our TV with the pop out, the small loft, the ladder. We weren't sure what we were gonna do. Our builders were awesome and came up with this idea where we have the TV stored actually up in the small loft. So we just bring that puppy down and enjoy the show. This pop out was a total game changer for us because we always think if our house ended right here, it would feel super small. But the big reason that we did it is because we needed a spot for our ladder for our small loft. As you can tell, this bay window pop-out area is also Tank's favorite spot to stay and gaze out at the deer and all the squirrels that go in the field. Now let me show you our small loft. Welcome to our small loft. So we decided to put the light switch for the small loft up here because naturally when you come up you can just turn the lights on. We didn't only want one spot that we could sit and relax. So though we love sitting in the living room, we also love being able to come up here and just sitting in our little nook, but it also gives you a little bit of a different view over the field. We also added in 2 little cabinets here because we just needed to utilize this space a little bit more. And that side is where the house roof slants, so it's not really comfortable to sit over there anyway. All right, so one other thing I wanted to mention was our table / little bar area over here. It was really important to us to be able to have a kitchen table that we could sit at and actually look at each other and not just sitting at the bar. We also wanted to be able to entertain guests if they came over. So at this table we were able so far to fit 5 people very comfortably, pretty much comfortably. This does pop up and we have all of our winter gear and extra blankets in the bench. Welcome to the inside of our bathroom. So we really try to utilize as much space as possible, including underneath the stairs of our big loft. So we have these little things popping out of the wall, but hidden enough where you can't really tell that they're there. But we keep our towels, washcloths, and just, all of our other junk that we need another space for in this one. We also are utilizing the space underneath the stairs. So we actually couldn't find a spot to put our trash can in the kitchen. That was another downside, but because this is literally right next to the kitchen, it's not that big of a deal. But we do have our trash can in here. We put some more shelves for some additional storage space, and this is where our tankless hot water heater is as well. A couple must-haves for our bathroom space was to have a big old mirror, and I was kind of bummed we weren't able to fit any windows in the bathroom, so we got the light up mirror so I can do my makeup and it's not a pain. This is also a medicine cabinet where we can have a lot of stuff shoved in there as well. We also wanted to have a regular toilet. We really looked into the composting toilets, but it just wasn't for us, and we were really blessed with the opportunity to be able to have a hookup to sewer, so it worked out well for us. We were nervous that the toilet was going to be too close to the bath in the vanity, but it's just enough space for everybody to do their thing. We wanted to have a full shower and bathtub, so we made that happen from the beginning in the design, and that was actually the main point that we started at with our design, because we knew we wanted to have the full bath and shower. Finding the layout that worked the best was a little bit difficult, but this is very functional for us. We, again, were worried about moisture and controlling any opportunity for water intrusions to cause mold. So our bathtub and shower is one giant shell. That allows us to have no seams because we've had experiences in the past where if the caulking gets weared away a little bit, some water can get in there and cause problems. So we just wanted to eliminate that issue potentially altogether. Another key point to our ventilation and humidity control situation was to have this fan here. So you actually can set the humidity level and it kicks on and off when necessary, when it needs to. It's strong enough to also pull the humidity out of the air and go outside rather than just recirculate in the space that we're in. We're super excited to bring to the world an online course called Your Tiny Adventure, where we consolidate all of the information that we learned through our experience of building our tiny home in a step-by-step process. So if you are wanting to build a tiny house and you don't know where to start, we'll have the link in the description of the video. You can check it out. We've had the shower curtain for a long time. On the inside, it has a bunch of sayings. So it reads backwards here, but when you in the shower, you can read them. And then the big words say, imagine, believe, achieve. One of my favorites is difficult roads often lead to beautiful destinations. All right, we're gonna go into what originally was gonna be our first floor bedroom, but now is our office, studio, whatever we want it to be space. So we decided to go with the stackable washer and dryer. One, it worked out well for us with our design and the amount of space that we had, but also we saw a lot of not great reviews about the front load washers having mold and mildew issues. So we just ixnayed on that idea and went with the stackable washer and dryer. It is a little bit smaller than the standard, but it works out well for us and we can get a lot done. And this is our big closet that we hold most of our clothes that we wear on the daily basis. It also has our water softener and just a couple other places for some extra storage. One cool feature that we have in this closet is our retractable clothes hanger. This pulls off the wall and hooks into another little holder on the opposite wall. We hang dry a decent amount of our delicates, so we wanted to make sure we had a spot where clothing wasn't just laying around everywhere and there was a spot for everything. All right, coming over here, we have some of my little babies hanging on the wall, and we also wanted to have a space that we could work at, but also keep it open at the same time. So we decided to make a little Murphy table situation. So this was made with recycled cedar that they were logging on a neighboring farm to build a barn. And so these were the scraps. So we decided to take advantage of it and make this desk. We also added some ottomans. That way we had a little bit more storage space for some of my gig equipment as well as our office supplies. This is our main workspace that we pretty much do everything that we need to do. I painted these lotus flowers on the bottom of our table. I love what the lotus flower represents, a new beginning, and this tiny home and this adventure, it was such a new beginning for us, and it's been beautiful so far. Another key feature that we wanted to have in the house was a railing on this side of the stairs. A lot of them have really beautiful railings. on the wall, which we were going to do, but then we realized longevity, we'll probably be having kids in this house, and there should probably be some sort of barrier. We'll probably have to beef it up a little bit more, but we really enjoy having this railing, especially because the steps are a little bit steeper. I also want to point out our fan. So it helps with, obviously, circulation of the air, but we also just love how it looks. And I made another lotus flower just to kind of tie it all in with a new beginning. So that's just wood with stain on it. This bed is a queen size bed and it fits perfectly up in this space. We originally were gonna sleep in the first floor bedroom and had this as like a backup spot and decided, why are we not utilizing our stand-up space when we're actually needing to stand up? So we put the bed up in the loft. For our lighting in this loft, one thing that we do not love that we decided is to put a light right above, and it is so bright, like you're trying to wind down at night and it's not good. Even with our dimmable lights, it's just not nice. So we actually have it unplugged. We don't even use it. So that's something to consider when you're figuring out where your lighting should be in your lofts. The other huge thing, hi Tank, that we have in this loft is this closet. So we have a lot of stuff in here. This is our summer clothes, off-season clothes, just luggage, literally everything, sewing stuff. So that closet ends here. On the other side, we have our office supplies, our printer, filing cabinet. That was something that we really wanted to make sure we had a spot for everything. Like, where are you gonna put a filing cabinet if you don't have that already in the plan? On the back side of the bedroom, we have our desk and 2 cabinets on either side of the desk. This is where Caden or I will come up and work if we need some separation of space and a sound barrier. If I'm playing or writing and he needs to study, we have a little bit of space in between us. Something that we really didn't love about the whole loft life was scooting around on our hands and knees or on our butts. So we decided to chop off most of this chair, and then we can roll around on this bad boy. I'm super excited to be able to announce that I have been able to team up with a nonprofit called Malachi's Message to start the CIRS Support Fund. So if you do feel like you are going through something related to CIRS or toxic mold exposure, you can check that out at malachismessage.org/CIRS Support Fund, and we'd love to help you out as much as we can.
Nailed it.
Met him late at night. I got to say he was quite the sight. Tall and tan, slick back hair, charm that pulls you in with no fear. He said, I could offer you a life you always wanted. I could offer you a life among the riches. The only thing you gotta do is be everything you never wanted to be. What would you do for the righteous dollar bill that can finally fulfill your empty nest? Quick fix like a high that you'll ride all your life. What would it take to buy your soul? I line your pockets full of gold. What would you do? Hey!